What up, Eagle Talk fam?
What's up, guys? We got a friend to the room who's going to share her doing it scared story.
Yes. Okay, we are so excited to have our girl Tish.
What's up, girl?
Tish? Hey. Okay, so Tish is, if you are looking on YouTube, you see Tish and you may have recognized her from our Instagram because Tish is like extraordinaire. She's going to tell you everything that she does. But I get so many people that talk to me about that one time I was talking about you on my story. You remember that?
About the jacket?
Yeah. About the jacket. Okay. So y'all look, Tish then went out to where you go?
To Mexico, to Tijuana to be exact.
She went to Tijuana and got bodied up, right? So she came over my house to do IV, to do Corey's IV. A couple of weeks or months after, she came back, she was fine already, but came back a little bodied up. I said, oh, you got me messed up. I was like, when you come over my house, you come with a sweater.
And I have had a sweater most times.
A sport coat.
Yes.
Look, you better not play with me. But no, seriously, Tish is really good people. And we just want to share her story because Tish has one of those stories that when she tell you about her life, your mouth be open like, what all didn't happen? So just first of all, introduce yourself. I'm gonna just let you take it away.
I am Tish Smith. I am the owner of Vanity Wellness and Body. I have been a nurse for 17 years. I am a Dallas native. I know my two friends here are implants, but we welcome you here with open arms to the DFW Metroplex. I don't know. What else would you like to know?
Girl, what else would we like to know?
Well, let me start because mine is a little different. So I met Tish during COVID.
You did?
Okay.
Yeah, and she started coming over doing the Myers cocktail. And then I started adding a couple of little things, vitamin D's and switching some stuff around. So I just started posting her, and then a lot of my friends started using Tish. Then I think you got COVID.
Yeah, so I was like, you know me, I'm not seeing a chiropractor. I'm not getting IVs put in my arm. Like I'm looking like with the side eye, everybody. But then when I got COVID, Tish came right over and brought me back to life.
Yes, she did.
So that is how we met Tish, right? And of course, someone's in your home, you hanging out with them, you start to get to know about them. And Tish is an all around businesswoman. She's saying it all delicate, like I've been a nurse, and but no, she is a for real businesswoman. But your path to entrepreneurship, to doing what you do now. You didn't grow. Did you grow up with a silver spoon in your mouth?
No, I did not. Not at all. No, not at all. At all. I tell people all the time, I'm just your run of the mill project baby. I just made some different choices than everybody else. As a matter of fact, it used to be something I used to be ashamed about, but now it's actually it's a part of me. Like it's having my daughters. Like you may not be able to tell, but I'm 37 years young. But my oldest daughter is 23. So you do the math and you are completely and totally correct about when I had my daughter. So I actually had two when I graduated high school. But that was kind of my motivating factor. And I know most of you watching this have to be believers, but I believe that God sent me my daughter when he did, even all my girls, to save my life and to change who I was because I've not always been this put together.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So now,
how many kids you got now, Tish?
I have 4 daughters.
Okay.
4 daughters, and then I have 4 bonus children. So I have a total of 8, and I have a grandbaby, and he is my pride and joy. He's 3 years old. That's duty.
So you have so you have the children. So let's back up because you were emancipated
At 15. So I've been on my own since I was 15.
Okay, so how did that come about? Like, you got to give us the history.
So basically, it was just kind of like I didn't want to do what my family was doing. Like, I'm the first person in my family to graduate high school. I'm the first one to get a college degree. I did not want my life to be as theirs was, and the advice that I was being given at the time, they were giving the advice that they felt like was the best thing, but for me in my life, it just truly wasn't. I mean, I was told, oh, you already have kids, you need to drop out of high school. No, it's important that my kids see me do this. You just need to get your GED and go on. No, that's what you chose to do. That's not my ministry. That's not what I want to do.
Right.
So I continued to go to school and things like that. And just as I continued to grow and change and evolve, family didn't. And family is who family is. I mean, they don't mean any harm, but it just is what it is. So because I chose to make different decisions, it was like, okay, this is not going to work. So we're constantly clashing and things like that. And I was sent to move to Memphis. That didn't work out. That's a story for another time. That didn't work out. So I came back here to Texas, and it was just kind of like, I can't raise my baby in this environment. So at that time, I became a homeless teenager. So now I go and I live at Promise House. And if Brenda Malone ever sees this, that was my social worker. I still love you so much. Thank you for everything. So I went and I stayed at Wesley Inn, got help with getting my first apartment and getting childcare assistance so I could continue to go to high school, because at this time, I'm still in high school.
Wow.
So I had my first daughter from the summer of 8th grade going to 9th grade.
Wow.
So, so if you think about it, so if you think about your baby, think about him with a baby.
Yeah.
Right now, at his age. That was me.
Brenda's got a baby.
Yeah.
Brenda actually had a brain.
Yes, yeah.
This is interesting though, because these are a lot of some stories that people don't generally get a chance to hear. Our audience, right? Your story is totally different than mine, but I'm kind of like the outlaw of my family. Too. Like, I went astray from what everybody else was doing. Everybody was working for the family, and I was the first one to quit. But some kind of way, I knew that I was going to land on my feet. And what did that look like for you, especially being with a child or two?
I didn't think it was a little rocky there for a minute. Like, especially, honestly, what I'm gonna tell you when my breaking point was, when it was kind of like my aha moment. It wasn't my first baby. It wasn't the second one. It was I was pregnant with my third baby. I was 19 and I was so depressed. Actually, I was 18. Getting ready to turn 19, I was so depressed. So I was a CNA at the time, and I was like, there's no way I can support these 3 kids on this salary. I have to do something different. So my grandmother had been a housekeeper. My mom was a CNA, forever and ever, amen. I was a CNA, and I was just like, I have to do something different. So I started kind of literally just researching, and just kind of looking at stuff, and I found, at the time, it was called North Texas Professional Career Institute. I'm pregnant with my baby. They tell me, oh, well, you just have to come and take the nurse interest test. If you pass the test, you can start school. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Let's do that. So I go down, I take the nurse entrance test. I go home and I go in labor. So by the time I get home from the hospital, I have my acceptance letter in the mail. And so now I'm starting to try to get things in order for me to get ready to go to nursing school. And at the time, me and my kid's dad were living together. And then the next day he decides he's going to go to Job Corps. So now I have 3 kids, a newborn, which is one of my 3 kids, no child care, and I wake up the morning to take him to Job Corps and my car's repossessed.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So God literally had his hands all in that, but it eventually worked out. I mean, when I met some amazing girls that I'm still close with now, like their mom helped me with keeping my kids and things like that, so I could get back and forth. I remember one of them, I bought this car that was so raggedy. It was a Corsica. I don't even know if they still make those cars, but I bought that car.
Chevy Corsica.
Yes, I bought that car, and it was so raggedy. It took a cord. You had to hook it up to start it and unhook it to turn it off.
Yeah.
I would go to clinical some days, and I'd be like, listen, somebody going to have to take me home or give me some gas money because I ain't got it. So, I mean, the nursing school was one of the most humbling experiences of my life. And for my kids, they had to go through the whole thing with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm right. I'm like, you just said so much.
And we've heard this story a few times, but it's always interesting when you tell it again, because there's certain pieces that you don't really think about that you had to go through, right?
Yeah. So here is my question, and this is even going back to, you are 14 with your first baby, 16 with the second one, 16 with the second one, and your family, like you say, they're giving you the advice that they have based on their experience. Are saying like, don't even try, right?
Yes.
What did it look like to just make? Because I think a lot of times we can look at what you are doing and what position you have now, but to me, it started with that first decision that yes, this is the bed that I've made for myself, but I just don't have to lie down.
Yes.
So what was that like for you being a young kid?
Well, I've always been really hard-headed, and then it was a lot of so many people crumble under negative criticism and things like that, and I'm not one of those people. I kind of flourish because it's like, I'm gonna prove you wrong. I'm glad you feel that way. Now I'm gonna embarrass you because you're wrong. So I can't tell you how many. There's even family members now that I literally recently only just started talking to maybe a year or two ago because they were like, oh, she ain't gonna do nothing but make a whole bunch of babies. She ain't gonna do nothing. They were right. I made a lot of kids, but I did other things too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was just kind of like when they said that was kind of like the fuel that was added to the fire when people would say negative things or, you know, you get the looks and things like that, or people, you know, at school or teachers or whatever saying ugly things and things like that. Then it was just kind of like, I'm gonna show you something. Yeah. Just give me a minute. I'm gonna show you something.
So okay, so I want to turn the corner here because that's a huge part of your story. Mm-hmm. But at some point in time, entrepreneurship came into play.
Yeah.
I was in Tish's office getting an IV probably about a year ago now, and I had never been.
Because Tish would always come to us.
Right, she'd always come to us. And when I got there,
when I went to her office, I was like, I would never go to nobody.
Well, yeah, because the office was nice, right? But you were in the office with the two girls. You didn't even know I was there.
Not yet.
And she had like 9 certifications on the wall. And I was like, when, first of all, how do you even know how to do all of this stuff? Second of all, when did you have time to go to school to get certified? But I was thinking in my mind that at some point, we just talked about this in the previous episode. You decided to bet on yourself, right? But entrepreneurship, you just said, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get educated along the way. And I'm going to build a business in my brand, which is Vanity Wellness, right? Talk about it.
So for me, that looked like, because I was doing so many other things and I just got tired of working for other people. I'm working 2 and 3 jobs, trying to just make ends meet and give my kids a better life and things like that. So as I'm working a night shift and I'm working hospice in the daytime, if I have to, like, I think that day that we that you were talking about, come back to my house with a jacket on. Remember, I had flew to Detroit for training and literally had flew back that same day. So that's so. You gotta make time. You have to bet on yourself. So I am not opposed to flying out somewhere, getting some training, and flying right on back home same day. That's kind of how I do. But I actually got introduced to entrepreneurship kind of haphazardly. So there was another nurse friend of mine. She knew someone that needed help with setting up their hospice. They had tried to get it up and running before. They couldn't get it licensed. So she said, I know a really, really good nurse and she can help you with that. So when she introduced me to her, me and her worked together. We went through the CHAP survey. We got it licensed and everything like that. And we were running the hospice. But that's not where my nursing love is not end of life. That's just not, you know, I can do it. I'm good at it. I'm passionate about it, but I have compassion for it, but that's not my passion.
That's your zone of excellence, not your zone of genius.
Yes. Yeah. So as I'm doing that, then I started messing with things like doing eyelashes and eyebrows, but that, again, that's not my ministry because I don't like tedious tasks. So I started talking to my friend Yolanda, and we were talking about me going to Dominican Republic to have surgery. She put me in this Dominican Republic group on Facebook. And I'm in here and I'm looking, I'm seeing all this horrible medical advice. So then I start kind of chiming in like, no, please don't do that. Do not put ointments on surgical sites. Don't do this, don't do that. Or that's not infected. That's just maturation or whatever it is. So one girl from Austin, she messages me and says, hey, I came back from DR. I have my drains still in. Can you take my drains out? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. You know, come over you're going to have to come to Dallas and I'll take them out. She comes to my house and I take her drains out in the bathtub.
Damn.
Within 2 weeks, there's 10 other girls in my inbox asking me, hey, can you take these drains out?
Oh, you in business?
Yeah, so that was 3 years before I even started my business. So as I continued doing that, then IV hydration became something that was popular and started being and I started seeing all of these different mobile IV hydration places pop up. And at this time, I'm working at Baylor. And one of the attending physicians, he comes to me and he's like, hey, Tish, we need to start this kind of business. And I'm like, that really doesn't exist, or else where would we even start? And he was just like, well, him and his wife had gotten it when they went to Vegas. So he was like, you know, I'm going to have him to come over this weekend. You're going to come over. So as he's getting his IV, he's grilling this poor nurse. I feel so bad for her. And every time she answers him, he's like,
right.
So I'm just like, okay. So we end up, I go and I start actually working for a company just to kind of see, you know, the logistics and kind of how things are going on.
That's probably about when we met.
That is when we met. And I was just like, oh no, I can offer a way better service than this, because this is not a customizable service. This was a one size fits all. And none of us are one size fits all. Yeah. So in that, now I have IV hydration, I have post-op I have post-op care, and Vanity Wellness is born.
Okay, so let me ask you a selfish question. The IV hydration, was that popular prior to COVID?
No.
Okay.
It was only popular in like Vegas for like hangovers and things like that. But as we come to find out, just even me working in a COVID unit for 2 years, we would give people that would come in that we would actually admit, because we didn't admit everybody with COVID. If we admitted you to the floor for COVID, all we did was gave you IV hydration with high dose vitamin C, zinc, and vitamin D.
Right. Okay. So you're like, this is actually, I mean, these are just vitamins that we
this is stuff that I can do this for people at home. Like, they don't even have to come in, and which is I still do. Like, you know.
So this is actually pretty fascinating to me, because it's been plenty of times. I remember a couple of weeks ago, she was in her office. I was walking out of mine. You were giving me an IV, and I walked down the hall. And you filmed me going in her office, but I had the bag and the needle, and I had like 7 people hit me like, "You all right, bro?" Because people still don't know what IV hydration is. Right.
It is.
So can you? I can only speak on the Myers cocktail, but I don't know what's best.
There are like 30 different drips, and all drips are customizable. Like, even for me, I have kind of like my popular 15 that I do. So we do the Myers cocktail, but what you get is more of like a super Myers, because I put some extra things in there because Corey is so special. He's like the male face for my IV hydration. He's like, he is. So then I have a libido boost. I have something for migraines. I have a hangover. I have a rapid recovery. I have an allergy drip. I can't remember. I can bring your blood pressure down. I have one that is for beauty and glow.
If you're not having these conversations, I've grilled you a couple of years straight now to even know that this stuff exists. But the average person just does not know.
They don't. And no matter, I mean, honestly, to really be honest, the sad thing is, if you're not being funny or entertaining, most people don't even listen.
Yeah.
Ooh, so I've said it so many times, and I tell people that all the time. But if I'm not being funny, or I'm not being,
if you're not dancing, or if you're not juking, like, get your IV.
People don't listen.
Yeah.
They
It's a good way. I never thought about it that way.
Like, you can say it until you're blue in the face, but until you put some music and a beat to it, or it's something where I can make them laugh or something, then they remember.
So let's. Like, I love how we have just talked about, from being a teenage mom to, your family was just giving you the best advice for what they had, to now you have to work for somebody else in accidental entrepreneurship. Yes. So, like, now what does that look like, right? Like, do you ever look back on your life and you're just like, okay, God, what? Like, and where am I going?
Definitely do. I look at it all the time. And because if you had told me 5 years ago, "Oh, Tish, you're going to be an entrepreneur," I would have told you, no, I'm not. I'm actually going to be an OBGYN, and I'm going to deliver babies, and I'm not doing that. Like, I did not have an entrepreneurial spirit at all. I actually should have known that I probably did, because I had 7 jobs in 1 year, because I will quit on you in a minute. So Vanity is literally, next year, February, Vanity will actually be the longest I've stayed at any job, any place.
How long is that?
3 years. That's it. That's it.
It just so happened you own it. So
exactly. So, I can't just be like, I quit. I mean, I quit sometimes, but I just come back the next day. We start over. But entrepreneurship, like, for me now, Vanity looks like, I want her to franchise. And not only do I want to just be in beauty, health, and wellness, but I want to get into real estate. I want to be in trucking. I actually want to open a not-for-profit for pregnant and parents and teenagers. It looks very vast. I mean, it's scary because, and I never heard of doing it scared until I met you guys. But yeah, every time I think about it, it's kind of like a, what would Rosemary do type of thing.
So let me ask you a question, because I know you. It's been plenty of times that we've been sitting in my house at the kitchen table, and you will bounce 9 ideas. I remember you wanted to go to the military. I'm like, Tish, you ain't got no time to go to the military. Then it was trucking, everything you just named, right? But for somebody like you, what do you have a passion for?
I have a passion for helping people.
Okay.
In whatever capacity that is. I love to touch people.
Okay.
Like, I just love to touch them. And then my passion is helping people. My purpose, I feel like, is going to be to train up a lot of teenage girls that may not have the tenacity or the resiliency that I had, because the world is not set up for you to make it as a teenage parent. It is set up for you to be welfare dependent for the rest of your life. That's that's just how it's set up.
Yeah.
And for my vision, I want them to know, and I want them to be able to speak to someone and see someone that says, oh, well, if she did it, I can too. I want to be able to, the same love and light that came to me, I want to be able to pour that into other people, because I feel like that's my ministry. That's kind of what I feel like God has the assignment on my life to do, because I can speak to them directly from being in their shoes. There's not a lot of people that can, people that haven't had kids as teenagers, and I ain't talking about 16, 17, 18, yeah, you're a teenager, but when you're 13 and you're having a baby, that's a completely different
different ball.
That's a completely different. And then to turn around and then you're an emancipated minor by the time you're 15 years old. And like I said, I was just talking to somebody today, and I was telling them, we were reflecting on how long I've been a nurse. I was like, I've been a nurse since I was 19 years old. I've been a nurse since before I could buy liquor. I could give narcotics, but I couldn't buy liquor. I mean, but So.
Hilarious.
So Tish, let me ask you this, because I'm going to even back up, because I know that a lot of our audience, I love who you have a heart to serve, but a lot of the people that watch Eagle Talk, what if they have that teenager that they're like, I imagine your mama must thought she buck wild, So what would you say to them on how they can love that child well? Because you're a great example that because of the decisions they're making today, that doesn't necessarily mean this is their only destiny. How would you tell what advice would you give a parent who is just really struggling with some of the decisions that their child is making?
You're gonna have to pray for them and talk to them, not at them. You can't. I was always a child. You can't tell me because I said so or because I'm grown. That doesn't mean anything to anybody. Like, I even still now allow my kids to ask me why. Of course not if I say, okay, go wash the dishes, and they're like, well, why? No, not that. But if it's like, Mom, can I go here, or can I spend the night here? No, you can't, and this is why. I tell them why, so that they have an understanding. A lot of times I feel like us as parents, we just throw our power and our weight around. It's like, because I said so, and it's like, so what?
Right.
So if you take that approach and they're anything like me, it's not gonna fare well.
Yeah. So that's why I hear you saying just having a respect aspect. And then I think my encouragement is just knowing that, you got to pray for them, meet them where they are, because of the decisions they're making today, that doesn't mean like their life is over.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all.
So let's end on this, Tish, because your story is so widespread, right? And now I know at least one of your children's in college.
Yes,
right?
yes.
So those are different conversations, I'm sure.
Totally different conversations. And nobody's had a baby except as a teen.
Give me some.
Listen,
Okay.
they graduated first, okay?
Here's my selfish question to you for our viewers, because you've been to a couple of our events, and we now share a lot of the same friend group. What does doing this scared mean to you?
No matter what happens, you just gotta pray about it and keep going. Like, God didn't bring you this far to drop you off. And even if he changes his mind, and delayed does not mean denied. But I also have come to grips with, you know what? I'm even okay when he says no.
Wow.
Yep.
I love that.
Even okay when he says no. Well, I guess that's the best way. The best way to leave it. No, I will say this, Tish. I am I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
The first time I went to your office, I called Corey, like, have you been here? You're like, yeah, I've been there. you the one late to the train. But just you are an encouragement, because everybody does not have a pretty buttoned up story.
Yeah.
And Corey has said all the time, like, if we all throw our problems in a pile, you'll pick yours back up. And it's just amazing. And not just what you're doing in business and how you're supporting people, but just your outlook. I don't think that even when you low-key want a counseling session from me, I'm like, I ain't your counselor, sis. But
she is.
Always with a smile on your face. You know what I'm saying? Like, always with a smile on your face. And I know that you have really taken a lot of responsibility and put it on your back. But we just want to celebrate you for who you are.
For sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you for being vulnerable and sharing your story, because most people wouldn't.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Right? Yeah, most people would. So
then you can't grow.
Yeah.
The test is the testimony.
Yes. Now, if they want to connect with you, right? Because Tish does classes. She teaches people how to do what she does. She does all this stuff. You can get a surgery, or if you want IV hydration,
drains removed,
all that stuff. How do they get in contact with you?
Well, you can follow me on Instagram at Vanity Wellness and Body PLLC, or you can call the office at 214-210-3299.
Yay.
There we go.
All right, Eagles, be good.
We'll see y'all on the next one.